Today is Christmas. I just recently committed to a season of monk mode where essentially I just focus on my work, my purpose. No friends, no social media, no distractions, no gathering, and I've mostly just been putting all my hours and effort into either my day job, my purpose, business. I have a family business that I work at, and of course my day jobs. I've been on this monk mode for a couple of weeks now, and while I've been actively really focusing on just solitude and being alone and really focusing on my work the last couple of weeks, I can't deny the fact that I'd say the last year to 2 years, but especially the last year or so, I have lived a really, dare I say, a very lonely life. So it's very interesting because I have a lot of experience with self improvement, a lot of experience with God and relationship with God and my testimony and all these things and mental health and spiritual health and physical health. I can talk about all these things, but the one thing that I can't cure and the one thing I can't help anybody with really is loneliness, the season of isolation. And for many people, the sad truth is it's not just a season, it's a lifetime of isolation. There's this quote I really like. I don't know who said it, but it goes like this: most men live lives of quiet desperation. And that is very true. That is very accurate. And self improvement will help a ton with that because you start to respect yourself more and you start to kind of have high expectations anyway for friends, family, whoever's in your life, relationships. Like 3 years ago, I would have settled for any woman. I would have settled for a very worldly, degenerate, just a very disgusting, low tier girl. And now my expectations are incredibly high. So expectations are a big part of it, but also when you start living self-improvement and God out for yourself, you will be lonely. You can have church, you can have friends, you can have church friends you grew up with, and that's always nice. And a lot of those people live good social lives and great masculine brotherhood and great, they live an okay life. For many people, especially people who didn't grow up in church like me, it doesn't play out that way for them. When I was in high school, I always had some friend. I always had somebody to talk to. I always had somebody to hang out with. And they weren't high quality friends. They weren't the masculine brotherhood that I now desire. But they were still company. They were still people to talk to. They were still a big part of my life. I still had a social life. And nowadays, I can't say the same. Now, don't get me wrong, I still socialize quite a bit. I'm not this like mysterious, like dark person. I don't talk to anybody. I'm antisocial. Like that would have been me about like a year, 2 years ago, and really the rest of my entire life. But I'm actually a fairly social person, and I love talking to people. I love talking to my barista when they make my coffee, and I love talking to people around me, and I love talking to people at the gym. And I've even practiced cold approaching women, and not even for like intrinsic benefit. Like I don't even like have numbers on my phone, but just like complimenting somebody and walking away, and or like having a decent conversation, not expecting anything out of it because I've desexualized my brain. I don't really have like this like intrinsic like motivation when I talk to people anymore, which is a benefit you get later down after overcoming lust and porn and all this. So I know I kind of went on a tangent there, but it's not easy because I've always known, even when I was younger, that I just don't fit in. I just don't fit in with normal people. And it's not the fact that I've looked down on people. I definitely don't try to look down on people. I don't try to pass judgment onto others for the way they live their lives. But I see the way the world is, the way the average person is, the way my coworkers are, the way even a lot of my family members are, and people I know. And I can't relate to them. I can't get along with them. When you start, especially when you live this spiritual set apart life where you've given your life to Christ and this is all you do, and this is like you're living this out truly, or at least you're really trying to, it's really hard to get along with people. It's really hard to, because you're not listening to degenerate music. You're not listening to Drake or Party Next Door or any of these artists, these degenerate, dirty artists. You're not listening to them anymore. So it's kind of hard to listen to the same music and relate. They're talking about sports and you don't watch sports anymore. You don't even, like, it's just a waste of time in your mind. You have better things to focus on. And this makes me, and if you can relate, this makes you a very crazy person in today's day, a very weird, just outcast kind of person. And it's definitely very sad that this is the way the world is now. Because, like, I can kind of make small talk with people, but even then, like, I just don't relate. I don't understand. I don't live that life anymore, and I don't care to. And I find a lot of small talk to be kind of a waste of time, really. I mean, I still do it because I get the social benefit and it's nice, and, like, I like talking to people, but the fact that truly having nobody, and I'm not talking about friends that you hang out with once or twice here and there, degenerate, what we call crabs, the ones that pull you down and don't want you to be living this life of God and this life of self-improvement. You probably have a couple of those out there who you consider to be friends, maybe, or people you talk to, but they're really not friends. And you have these people, but you don't have any actual meaningful connections in your life. And that's really what I'm talking about, because when you get to this next level and you're just kind of a weird person, to be honest, you have, this lifestyle, you eat healthy, you eat clean, you don't eat junk food, you don't watch Netflix, you don't do this, you don't do that. It's really hard to make new friends. It's really hard to make connections. It's really hard to get along. It's really hard to have this deep connection with anybody. It's really hard to find relationships. It's hard to bond. And of course, you can kind of fix that by going to places where you'll find more people that are like you. So, I mean, church is a good one. Any kind of fight club, like a kickboxing gym, you'll find a lot of very disciplined, masculine, very, like, respectable people there. And, like, that could be a good place to meet people. So, of course, if you don't want to be lonely as a man, you have to put yourself out there. You have to work. You have to join a club or the gym, or you have to live this very social life. Now, I'm definitely not saying go to clubs and waste your time and party and drink. Don't do that. Like, if that's not your lifestyle, it's better for you to be completely alone in your life and to be lonely and actually feel true loneliness in your heart than to get into all the degeneracy. It's just not worth it. But I remember when I was younger and I did kind of live that out, even though I knew it wasn't really who I was, I would still go to parties and I would still kind of just waste my time on very stupid things. And I remember thinking, and this goes for gaming too, I used to game until like 3 a.m, and like on a daily basis, and it was ruining my health. But I just remember constantly getting thoughts that told me that there's more for me out there, that I'm wasting my time, I'm wasting my life away on this degeneracy, this BS, this shallow existence, this shallow habits. I knew I was wasting my time and my life away with these things and these actions, and yet I still wanted to feel a sense of being a part of something and having friends and connections and feeling valuable in a tribe. Just like how we used to in the old days. We are tribal. The humanity didn't succeed on its own. We are supposed to be living in tribes. We are supposed to work together. We are supposed to be very close and sharing stories at the campfire and hunting together, and for women, probably nurturing together and hanging out with the kids. And I'm gonna get called sexist for that. I mean, go ahead, I don't care. Cancel me. I've already been canceled, man. I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. I'm already canceled. I was kind of related to characters like Daryl Dixon, John Wick, all these kind of, I mean, I'm probably forgetting a lot of others, but like very lonely, like solid, like very solo arc kind of characters who just spend their time alone and spend their time and succeed alone and live their life alone, and they're just kind of badasses on their own. You kind of get the idea of that kind of character type. And I've always kind of related to that, but at the same time, I've always known that I've really always wanted to have a deep social connection with somebody, a deep, meaningful connection with people. And I always wanted to have a big family when I got older. I always wanted to have a ton of kids and a beautiful wife and a lot of friends, a lot of good masculine brotherhood friends where we train together on a weekly basis or even a daily basis. And we just bond over very masculine activities. I've always wanted that for myself, yet that is the one thing I've never actually sought out. That's the one thing I've never actually tried to improve in my life. And I'm not sure why. I really can't answer why. Maybe I've been too focused on work. Fair enough. Too focused on self-improvement, the habits, and living this out. And I think one thing that is what's holding me back is when you're starting self-improvement, and when I say start, I don't even just mean the first week or month or the first year, but the first few years, I'd say, of living this out for yourself. The very degenerate worldly people are down here. The self-improvement, high value women, high value men that you want to be friends with and you want to connect with are up here, and you're somewhere just right in here. You're not quite good enough to be with this crowd, but you also definitely don't want to be with this crowd. So you're in this like middle, like isolation kind of arc, this isolation stage, season of isolation, whatever you want to call it, right in the middle here between both extremes. And you're not good enough yet. You don't have enough results. You don't have enough to show for yourself to fit in with that higher crowd that you're looking for, the high value crowd. And yet you also definitely don't want to be with this crowd. So it's like this awkward middle stage. And the only solution that I could think of for this, the only solution that I could really think of for this is starting an online group. And an online group where it's kind of just self-improvement and God. People who have those two qualities. They're chasing self-improvement, improving their lives physically, mentally, spiritually, and even financially. And God, and relationship with God, and spirituality, and scripture, and learning these spiritual concepts. And, you know, I've seen a lot of red pill groups. I've seen like Hamza's, what does he call it? The Adonis tribe or something like that. And it's a very good outlet for sure. It's a very good system he has going on. He's made probably millions off that. And it's this private group online that he has where these people can kind of connect and like understand and like kind of come to a place where they can kind of feel at home, where anywhere else they wouldn't feel that way. And the only problem with that is there's no spirituality there. There's no faith. There's no spiritual growth. There's no spirituality. There's a missing part, and that's spirituality. And I really want to create, and this might be a business idea for me in the future, is I want to start a tribe. I want to actually start a tribe, and it's in my name, Zach's Tribe. It's been an old name. I haven't really changed it, but I might stick with it. I don't know. But Zach's Tribe, like just a tribe of people who may not be up here. They might be, but they may not be. And they're definitely not down here. And they want to get up here, but they're really like somewhere in here. And they really want to improve. And they really want to continue improving their life and seeking advice and learning these concepts and growing in their relationship with God. And I know there's so many of you out there, and you guys are lonely. Even if you have friends and family that you talk to and you hang out with, you are still lonely deep inside because you don't have this deep, meaningful connection with anybody. Because you can't relate to them. And they can't relate to you. They can't relate to the emotions you experience and the thoughts you think and the habits you do on a daily basis. You're quite literally alone because you are better than them. Because you are better, and yet at the same time, you just have nothing to show for it. And you can't get along, and you can't acclimate, and you can't feel accepted in this group. And that's really why I want to start a tribe, an online group, an online school, I guess you can call it. So I've always kind of wanted to start something like that. Maybe one day in the future, I will start something like that. So just stay tuned. I might do something like that, and I think it would be really good because there has never been anything like that made before. There's been no such thing as a self-improvement kind of masculinity like tribe, but with an emphasis on spirituality and a relationship with God, because that is the big changer right there. That's a big kind of qualification that really changes your life. When you give your life to Christ and you live the spiritual life, then you're living set apart. You're living a totally different, it's hard to put into words, but if you give your life to Christ, you understand what I'm trying to say here. You're just set apart, you're different, and I would really like to create a tribe where we're all kind of together. We have this Christian brotherhood, which who's even heard of that? We've heard of Muslim brotherhood. Everybody is close in the Middle East. Christians are not close. Christians are very isolated. Why? Why are we divided by denomination? Why are we divided by all these like churches and like secondary beliefs? They're not even like even tertiary. They're not even like firsthand like salvific. Salvific, that's a tough word. It is not even salvific like terms and beliefs, and yet people still divide over them. But if I can just create a tribe where there's a bunch of us and we're all just talking and spreading stories and advice and getting along, and like I might have to do this, man. I might have to get after this. This is a really good idea. But I think the unfortunate part is that you will most likely have to spend your first few years on self-improvement and on this journey with God alone. At least in real life. You might be able to get on a tribe or some kind of group online like that you can kind of fit in with and talk to people in and call. But in real life, you're probably going to just live in isolation for quite a few years, honestly. Now, of course, I'm not saying like be this like villain arc, lonely Daryl Dixon. Don't chase that. Don't self-sabotage yourself to that level. Find people, go to church events, go to church first of all. But go to church events, go to youth group, or not youth groups, young adult groups or youth groups. I mean, I don't know how young you are, but go to these events, go to these places, go to coffee shops and do your work. Go just live this social life. Hold true to your principles. Stick to the habits daily, but talk to people. If you're just seeking this out and you're still learning and growing, you're 100% welcome. You don't have to be like a Christian. You don't have to sign your name in blood like the Satanists do. You can just join and be a part of this and learn and grow. And I think that would be a very beautiful thing to have. Just a brotherhood, an online brotherhood. And who knows, maybe we can get meetup. Maybe we can have meetups, right? So, I mean, I don't know. I really like that idea. I would really like to make that happen. There is a strong importance if you're relating to what I'm saying of loneliness and this season of just being isolated and not clicking with anybody and not being understood by anybody, feeling very alone. I've been there, man. I'm still kind of there, honestly. Not so much, but I don't have like this masculine brotherhood. I don't have this tribe. I don't have this group. I don't have this, and most 99.9% of men don't. The closest thing you get is maybe your team if you play sports, but even then it's like so degenerate anyway. Most of these teams go to parties. But the importance of having a relationship with God, because if you don't have a relationship with God, who do you have? You can take peace in knowing that the creator of the universe is by your side and you have him there, and you have him. And I want to redirect this video actually into something else, because when I was in a younger stage in my journey with my relationship with God, I didn't really trust God. I didn't really trust who he was, and I didn't think that I would have this mindset that like praying to him didn't even matter because it just felt like it was kind of worthless. Not true at all. He's listening, he's there, and you might not feel God's presence, especially if you are still kind of in the world a little bit and you're kind of lazy, or you're kind of still struggling with lust, or still struggling with this or that, or living this life, or listening to this kind of music. If you're still a bit worldly, then you might not be proper like experiencing God's presence all the time, and you might feel very alone in that spiritual journey. But let me tell you, man, God is there. God will show himself and you will experience him. And I don't want to get on a side tangent with this, but God really is your best friend. He is your day one. He is your day zero. And not having a relationship with him and kind of neglecting that and not giving time in your day to him is one of the worst habits I made when I was starting out. I would have probably started this YouTube channel 6-8 months ago if I didn't just kind of neglect God and didn't trust him for a little while there. And everything happens for a reason. It's God's timing. But at the same time, who knows? I might have just delayed my purpose. And I definitely felt very depressed and bad about it. But if you have God, then even if you're alone, you will feel peace. And you will feel just so much better. Trusting who God is and trusting God and actually building that relationship with him, it's going to take time. And you have to be patient. You have to just kind of stick with it. Even when you're not seeing any results, just like when you started going to the gym all those years ago, you kept going even though you weren't seeing results yet. Eventually you realize, oh crap, I'm actually seeing results. And you kind of got in this honeymoon phase of lifting or going to the gym, and you really started to enjoy it. And of course you have probably points in time where you're kind of like, what is the word? Like just kind of, why am I forgetting the word? Where you just kind of stall. And that same thing goes for your relationship with God. And it is bound to happen. But you can just rest easy knowing that he is 100% there. He is God. He's 100% there. And just keep doing the good habits. Keep living this set apart life. We're all just souls living this short, hard life in this broken down body, this limiting body. But who cares? At the end of the day, if you don't have friends, who cares? And I'm not advocating to be lonely at all. 100%. We are not meant to be alone. We are not meant to be islands. But at the same time, if you have God, you don't need anybody else. And why are we expecting to live this amazing life with Christ? Of course, it is very good and very peaceful. And there's so many good things about giving your life to Christ and living this life. But I'm telling you, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be very lonely. You're going to go through tribulation. But rest knowing that God is by your side. You're not alone. You're not alone, bro. Trust me. Keep growing in your faith. Keep growing in your relationship with God. Keep doing the good habits. Keep purifying yourself. Desexualize your brain. Quit watching porn. Quit lusting. Desexualize your brain. Get over it. Live the set apart life. Keep improving. Keep resisting the temptation. You're going to fail. Inevitably, you're going to fail. But keep trying. Keep meditating. Keep working out. Keep doing this. Keep doing that. Whatever you decide to do. Just keep improving. Keep living the set apart life. Don't escape it. Don't escape the spirituality and don't escape this lifestyle. Don't replace it with degeneracy and wasting time and junk food and pleasure. Keep going, brother. Keep going. And hey, maybe one day you can join my online tribe for $5 a month. We'll see, man. But as always, just put in the hard work and God first. I love you all. See you on the next one. Goodbye.